G'day, fools, and welcome to the Motley Fool YouTube series, our favourite investing books. I'm Motley Fool CIO Scott Phillips, and this series is all about bringing you the favourite books of our analyst team. As I've said before, it was going to be kind of a one book per person short series, but there are so many good books, and the guys were so keen to share so many of them with you. It's become its own series. It was going to go from my favourite investing book to our favourite investing books, and there are heaps of them. My guest this week, who was here with me last Wednesday for Stock of the Week, is Andrew Legget. G'day, buddy. How are you?
Hey, Scott, doing well.
Good. Welcome back, mate. Thank you for rejoining me. You've been on this series as well. You've been all over our YouTube, mate, which I really appreciate. By the way, fools, couple of cool little YouTube videos coming reasonably soon from Andrew. I'm looking forward to chatting with him about a couple of topics that I think you'll really enjoy. No hints, just it's pretty topical, pretty cool, pretty kind of sci-fi. Just stay tuned for that stuff. Mate, speaking of sci-fi, this book you're going to talk to us about is called The Dark Side of Valuation. The subtitle is Valuing Young, Distressed, and Complex Businesses. How hard can that be on video? Good luck with that one. By Aswath Damodaran, who is the professor of finance at, is it NYU? I'm pretty sure it is.
New York University, yep.
There you go. He's probably the foremost voice of traditional value investing these days, outside the practitioners like the Buffetts and others of the world. Damodaran is kind of the go-to resource for value investors, for better or worse. He's also pretty prolific. He shares a lot of his thoughts about some of the coolest, biggest companies of our time, the Teslas, the Facebooks, plenty of others besides. So he's a pretty public guy, and he's a pretty cool guy. I've actually done a little Coursera course from him ages ago now, just a little bit of a valuation 101, just to get a taste of what he does. This book, though, promises quite a lot. And you've read it, you liked it, and you wanted to talk about it. So I'll stop talking, hand over to you, mate. Tell me about The Dark Side of Valuation.
Yeah, well, I think the title is great because as you go on, you can see why that term, and he's very good at explaining the technicals of valuation, but also he's not a evangelist. He's happy to tell you, hey, here's where valuation gets difficult, and here is why. So what this book tries to cover, and it's actually on my list to reread again because it's been a while since I've actually went through it. So firstly, the first part of the book is really a valuation 101 kind of thing. If you've ever wanted to know how to value a company and the technical element to it, the nuts and bolts, that will get you up to speed with that. So you're going to talk about discounted cash flow valuation, all the little parts of that go into it, and then some bits on multiples and things like that as well. So that's that's good because you need that basis for the rest of the book to make sense. Right. And the rest of the book is focused okay, now you know how to value a company. Now let's look at how you value difficult to value companies. And some examples of that, fast growing or loss making businesses, and we've seen plenty of them. Companies with big macro kind of elements to the resources companies, things like that. Finance companies where traditional discounted cash flow valuation doesn't necessarily fit. So these are all examples of the type of companies that are hard to value, and he will help you understand or deal with the challenges of how to value those businesses. Because, to quote the old, I think, was it Graham or Buffett? I can't remember, that said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Valuation plays a big factor. In fact, I would actually, and why I'm recommending this book rather than some of his others that are much simpler and just focus on the nuts and bolts of valuation, is throughout my time investing, I've could be a completely erroneous thought, but my personal view is that the situations where valuation matters most is going to be in situations where those companies are hard to value. A Woolworths, for example, is a very easy to understand business. It's well followed. the valuation should, not saying it always is, but should, be about where it should be for the most part. Right. So you can sit down for hours and knock out a valuation on Woolworths, but I'm not sure how much of a benefit you're going to get from that. Now, think of a different, Afterpay, for example. Now, there is a company that is hard to value because the span of potential outcomes, like even many, many years ago before it was, especially many years ago before it was the giant that it is now that's about to be, merged with Square. Now, that is a company where valuation would have played a very big role in that because, the span of, during certain years, you were seeing it go from like $20, $50 back down to $9. Like the prices were enormous. Like the volatility was huge. So, and in those situations where there's so much blue sky, I always say like valuation acts as the gravity to kind of keep your feet on the ground so you don't end up like paying really ridiculous amounts for it. And, there's so many companies that have skyrocketed and people have bought, at really high prices and are unfortunately well underwater. Whereas if you've sat back and thought about it from a valuation point of view, you might not have got yourself into that because you'll be like, well, this company isn't worth X, it's only worth Y, which is much less. So that's kind of why I like this book and recommending this one in particular, largely because it does go through the nuts and bolts of valuation and it will help you learn how to value a company. But it also gives you the hints and is very upfront about the challenges of investing and valuing these other hard to value companies. And it says the same thing I have. It's like, you're going to be wrong 100% of the time when you value a company, but that's okay. You want a guide. You want to kind of, get you in the ballpark rather than trying to come up with something specific. If you're looking for precision in any company's valuation, let alone a hard to value one, you're going to probably find that very, very tough. So goes through the nuts and bolts of valuation, but also will help you grow to become better and use those nuts and bolts to value companies where I think a valuation approach will really help you, get some really, really great returns.
I love that, mate. I love the idea that, traditional valuation metrics done very simply, very straightforwardly, whether it's a gas pipeline or a supermarket or a toll road, they're pretty straightforward. The inputs are easy, the outputs are relatively easy, and everyone's going to be roughly the same. Those businesses that are hard to value aren't unable to be valued. As you say, you're not going to be able to do it 100% correctly, but having a process to kind of go, okay, it's a loss-making business or it's a hyper-growth business or it's a something, but there's still a price that is too much for every business. There is still a price that is too cheap for every business, and being able to have the tools to, rather than just throw the toys out of the cot and say, can't possibly do it, let's not bother, let's either not buy it or buy it at any price. This sounds like it gives you the tools to start to at least frame some sort of, I would say frame a market, but give you some way to assess the range of outcomes and come at some sort of number that you feel is a reasonable price to pay, even for those difficult businesses. Is that a reasonable summary?
Yeah. I think you've nailed it. So even if you never sit down at a computer or a spreadsheet and do a discounted cash flow valuation, you'll at least understand the levers that are involved at impacting a valuation from this book. If you want to sit down at a spreadsheet and do one, it will also help you to do that. And you'll see examples and spreadsheets. And also, while I'm at it, his website, if you want to learn more about valuation, great resource. He even shares his lectures from New York University. So, well worth a listen. He's very engaging. Check that out as well if this is a subject that interests you. But yeah, it's going to teach you to think about value better. Now, as you said, there's valuation matters. Like people watching, imagine what you think is the best growth stock in the world. The one, and then I'll ask you one simple question once you've thought about that. Would you buy it at $1 million per share? Now, the answer will probably be no. And why is that no? Because valuation matters. And that's kind of what this book is getting to the heart of.
Beautiful way to sum it up, mate. I can't improve on that. So I'm going to simply say thank you for sharing The Dark Side of Valuation from Aswath Damodaran. I haven't read this one, so I'm going to put it on my to-read list. What do you put on your to-reread list? And that means two of us at least will be reading this book in the next little while. Mate, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. You gave a really nice summary. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into the book. Viewers, thank you for joining us for our favorite investing books. You can follow Andrew on social media at Andrew Legget on Twitter. Is the best way to follow Andrew. He tweets relatively regularly, and it's good stuff. So you really want to do that for yourself. You can follow me on Twitter or Insta. You can follow the Motley Fool on Twitter or Insta. Follow us both on Facebook. And of course, here on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that next time Andrew is here, next time I'm here, next time one of our other gun analysts are here, you don't miss a second of all the great stuff we're giving you for free, by the way, on this YouTube channel. So thanks for watching. And until next time, from Andrew, myself, and the whole Motley Fool team, Fool on.